we're making an essential household product that keeps you clean and fresh. That's right, we're gonna make soap today. So let's go get started. To make soap today, you need 2 pieces of safety equipment. Do not think of even starting making soap unless you have these and are using them. 1 is a pair of rubber gloves, and 2 is a pair of safety glasses. We're going to be using lye today to be making your soap, and lye is highly corrosive and a very dangerous chemical. So these are essential. So here are some of the ingredients and some of the tools that we need to start making our soap. You need some distilled water, which is water without minerals in it. You need a stick blender. I would get a second-hand stick blender. Don't be using the same stick blender that you would use on your food. You need essential oils of your choice if you wish. You need lye, which you can pick up at any hardware store. Your safety gear, of course. You need a bucket, that same thing as a stick blender that you're not going to use on anything else other than soap. You need a digital scale. Today's recipe, we're going to be using coconut butter. And you need molds. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out our ingredients and then set them aside. So in order to use a scale like this, if you've never used one before, what you do is you just turn it on, let it come to 0, put your bowl on top. Now, you're going to have to reset it because once you put that bowl on, it's no longer at 0 anymore. It's 5.8. So what you're going to want to do, on this one anyways, it says Z/T. You're going to push that button and it's going to reset it, and then everything in here is at 0 now. So anything you add, it doesn't count the weight of the bowl. So we're going to add in our coconut butter. So we're going to add 33 ounces of coconut butter. This stuff is hard to get out, but it's going in the bowl because we need to melt it. And you're going to melt it on a double boiler on the stove. And this takes a few minutes to get out and a little bit of muscle. But if it's the summertime, just leave it outside. It'll melt and you don't have to do any of that. But for right now, it's the dead of winter and we have to scrape it. Okay guys, next we're going to add 12.5 ounces of your distilled mineral-free water. Try and get as close to the 12.5 as you can. This jug of water will last you a very long time. So here's where the next part comes in, our safety equipment. Get your gloves on and get your safety glasses on because you're going to need them from here on out. So now we're going to measure out our lye crystals. So this is what the front of the container looks like. I got this at the Home Hardware in Aurelia, but I've tried to get it at the Home Depot, but I haven't been able to find it there yet. It seems like you can only find it at kind of mom and pop shops, or if you went to a sewer or a septic tank store or something like that. I think they might have it there because I think they use it in septic tanks. So like I said, we're going to measure out our lye. So we need 4.95 ounces of our lye. So we're going to reset our scale. Scale's down to 0. Now, this stuff is very, very corrosive. Do not get it on you. I'm not kidding. It will eat your skin. It will eat your skin. Do not get it on you. Do not skimp on the safety equipment. Okay. 4.95 or 2, 3, 4.2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5, 4.95. There we go. put the lid on, and put that back in your laundry room. Do you see what I have here? I have a pot of water on the stove. It's just at a gentle simmer. And all you're going to do is you're just going to put your coconut butter on top there, and you're going to stir it and stir it and stir it until it's melted. You don't want it hot, hot, hot. You just want it to the point where it's melted, and then you're going to take it off. If you can see, this is our coconut oil. It's been on only a minute. And look and see how fast it melts. There's still some chunks in there, but we're getting there. Probably another minute and we'll be all done. The next step is dealing with the lye and the water mixture. So what's going to happen here, we're going to take this water, we're going to put it in the bucket. Then we have to go outside and add the lye to the water. You do not, under any circumstances, want to add that lye to the water while you're inside. It will smoke, it creates toxic fumes. You do not want to be inside while you're doing that process. Always, even if it's minus 30 out, which it is right now, we're going to go outside and combine these chemicals outside. So the part that we're going to do inside is we're going to take our water and we're going to put it into our bucket. You always want to add your lye to your water. You do not want to add water to lye, because if you have your lye in the bottom of your bucket, you add your water, the water could splash the lye up onto you. Very important. You need to follow these safety steps. And now let's take this outside. Here we are outside. So what we have here, we have our water in our bucket. What we have here is a metal spoon. Use a metal spoon because once that lye gets into that water, it's going to get searing hot. And you will see, once I put it in after a second or two, you're going to have all this smoke and steam coming out of the bucket. And so we're going to be out here and we're going to put it in, and we're going to be out here until it cools off a bit. You don't want it to cool off too much, but just till it stops smoking, because along with that steam, you're going to get your fumes, eh? So, got your gloves on, got your safety glasses on. So take your lye. It's snow on the bottom there. Take your lye and just gently place it in the bottom of the bowl. There you go. Now there's a little bit. There you go. Just take it and get it all out of that bowl. Take your spoon and start. I'm not sure if you can see, but you see all the steam. If you can, there's a bunch of steam coming off it right now. And that's all the steam and the fumes. Something else to have on hand, if you do end up getting the lye solution on you, is pour some just general purpose vinegar onto it, and it'll stop the corrosion. Also, with the dishes that you're using, say this dish here, this metal bowl, what I would do first, because there's a couple little lye particles on there, what I would do is I would take the vinegar and splash the vinegar on the inside of that dish as well. Oh, my dog is barking. See, it's still smoking, it's getting very, very hot. So, I think we're ready to go inside. The bucket's still steaming a little bit, but not nearly as what it was. So we're just gonna go inside and we'll put on the vent in the kitchen. And I think we're okay to go ahead and get the rest of the ingredients in here. So this is where we're gonna combine our coconut oil and our lye mixture together with our stick blender. Okay, so the coconut oil has had a chance to sit and cool off, and this has warmed up. You want them roughly the same temperature, otherwise what you might get is something called false trace. So that's where the soap doesn't combine, like the soap isn't combined, it's just, it's false. It's kind of like when you add cold water onto like hot butter, the butter solidifies. It's just kind of, it's false. So what you want to do is add the two together. Very gently, no splashing. Got your gloves and your glasses on. Okay, now set that aside. Take your stick blender, pop her in, and just give it a quick little stir. So what you want to do is you want to stir, and then a quick blend, and stir, and quick blend. And you just want to keep on doing that until you reach something called trace, which is it's going to thicken as it cools off, because what you're doing when you're blending it is you're incorporating air into it and you're cooling it off. So when it starts to cool off, it's going to get thicker. And then when you can kind of pull your stick blender out, it's going to start to fall back and ribbon on itself. You'll see what I mean when it starts to get thick. See, it's starting to thicken just a little. And the color will lighten as well. You just want to keep stirring and then blend, and then stir and then blend. You want it to start to thicken, but you don't want it so thick that you can't pour it nicely into your molds. Because you want the soap to be liquid enough that it'll pour into all the little crevices of whatever mold you're using. Today we're just going to use muffin cups. I did it like that before and it came out really cute. Also, if you want to add any of your essential oils, after it's come to trace is when you want to add it. Because the mixture is cooled off a fair amount. If you add the essential oils while everything is still really, really hot, you're going to lose a lot of your scent, and it's going to kind of, the heat, it destroys the quality of the essential oil. So just keep stirring. It's thickening even more now. You can see that. It's thickening even more now. Keep going. It'll get there. Yeah, the mixture still feels warm, but it's not hot anymore, which is good. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, that's so nice. Soap making, you know what, once you do it once, it just gets addictive because you can put anything in it. I made a batch in the fall where I clipped some cedar branches and I put them in the oil when it was liquid, and then I just kind of left it there and heated it up and then cooled it off, heated it up, so it kind of emulsified the oil with the scent of the cedar, and you just strain the cedar out when it's all done. And gosh, is that ever nice. I also did the same thing with lilacs in the summer. You can put coffee grounds in it. I've ground up oatmeal and cinnamon and put that in it. That's really nice. Something you do want to have it ground up fairly fine. Something I ran into is I put in rose petals in one of them one time, and I wasn't thinking, and then I started using the soap. All the rose petals came out of the soap and clogged up the drain. So if you're going to do something like that, it's probably best to grind it up a little bit. starting to get thicker. We're almost there. We're almost there. It's looking really good. It's looking nice and creamy, nice and vanilla color. It's so pretty. But yeah, making soap, it gets so addicting because you can do so many different things, and it's so nice. This is actually called a super fat soap because there's more fat in it than to ratio of lye and water. I find it's nicer on the hands. I work in a kitchen, and you wash your hands all the time, and so I find I get that red rash on my hands, and then I started using this soap, and it started clearing it up. That's not a claim, that's just my experience. See, look at how nice that's looking. And there's lots and lots of different kinds of soap recipes out there. Different kinds of oils, different combinations of oils. I just like to use this basic recipe. It works for me, and I like it, so I just stick with it. But go ahead and try some different ones. If you got the lye, try some different ones. Try some different, some different smell combinations. Go on to a store that has essential oils and, smell a bunch of them. And I'm gonna use a rose petal essential oil today because I really like the smell of roses. Now, you don't have to have one of these stick blenders. You could just use a whisk if you wanted to, or a spoon, but it's going to take a long time. Whereas, like I said, if you just go to a thrift store, just buy one off the shelf, somebody's old stick beater for a couple of bucks does the job and makes the job a lot faster. Okay. Now, can you see how when you pour it, when you lift it up and it falls back on itself, you can see all the lines in the soap. So it's coming to trace. That's what trace means, is having it ribbon back on itself. Okay. See, now I think I'm going to stop there. See, it's nice and thick. It's a nice creamy vanilla color. Yeah, that looks good. Now, you don't want to touch this either. Like, even though the two chemicals, or even though the chemical has been combined with the water and the fat, it's still corrosive at this point. It's not corrosive unless it's had time to sit. It needs time to sit and cure, and then that risk is gone. So now I've got a couple here that I bought. I have a vanilla. That one's okay. I have a cinnamon. And then I have this one here, which I'm going to use. It's called Rose Absolute. It's really, really nice. I really like it. Anything with a rose smell. Let's see here. I pop that little cap. There's a little drop cap. So, oh no. Let me just grab that. See, gloves. So I'm just gonna set that to the side. So I'm just gonna, I like it nice and strong. So I'm gonna add like that much. So that's like, oh geez, that's like half a bottle. Okay. Just take your spoon and mix it in. Yep, see? It's thickened up a whole lot more. Look at that beautiful color. Oh, it's so nice. Looks like custard. There we go. Okay. So that's all incorporated. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take it and we're going to put it in our molds. The molds I'm going to use today are just old muffin containers, and I have extra large jumbo muffin liners in there. I like the pattern it puts on the outside, and it fits nicely in your hand. So, let's see here. I'm gonna have to work from left to right. So what you wanna do is just take your filling and pour it into your little molds. It smells like roses. It smells lovely. Oh, I love the smell of this stuff. Sometimes it's nice just to take it and rub it on your wrist a little bit. I find people are intimidated by making soap. Like, oh my God, making soap, how the heck do you do that? But as you can see, it's really easy. Just need a few simple things. And you know what, once you make one batch, you want to make a whole bunch because it's so easy. And you know, you give it away as a gift and people are kind of impressed by it, which is good. Now, something now, when you've got it full like that, just give it a little tap just to flatten it all out. And then you can see if you need to fill up any more spaces. I'm gonna fill these ones up. I like them to all be the same level. That way, when you stack them, they all look nice. Or if you're gonna wrap them up as a present, it looks nice too. Put a little bow on them. There. There we go. Oh yeah, that looks great. That's gonna be a nice hefty bar. Nice hefty bar. Okay, so I'm gonna fill the other ones just because this is setting up. So I'll fill the other ones and then I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. That one recipe of soap made 6, 7, 8 big bars of soap. Now these are big bars of soap. Big bars of soap. So what you wanna do, what we have to do now is you have to let it cure. So when you're curing it and when it's cooling, you don't want it to cool down too fast because it can cause it to crack and just makes a nice, better quality bar if you do these steps. So you want to take a piece of cardboard and put it over top of your soap. And then just take an old towel that you have laying around and put it on top. You're just kind of insulating it, keeping it from cooling down too fast. So leave it like that for 24 hours. And then you can come back and peel the molds away, and then I'll show you what to do at that point. So here we go, folks, we're all done. And this is what we have, this beautiful bar of soap. It smells like roses, like the essential oil, and I think it's gonna be lovely. Now, after you take it out of its mold, or after you take it out of your soap pan, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna put it in a cardboard box and let it cure for 6 weeks. The curing process, what it's doing is it's letting all those, everything that's inside this soap, letting it marry together. And in the end, you're gonna have a harder bar of soap that's gonna last longer because some of the water is gonna evaporate out of that bar of soap with the curing process. So what I've done here is just a little example as to how you could just wrap it up and give it away as a little gift. It's cute, it's simple, and you know, people always appreciate getting something homemade for Christmas or just thinking about you. All right, well, thanks for joining me and watching this video. I appreciate it. And if you like what you see, please subscribe and click the little bell down below. And we'll see you again. Thanks a lot. Bye.